Some say space is the final frontier, but most scientists will tell you that there are parts of our planet that are unexplored and may even be more aliens than stars. The deepest point in the ocean, also known as the Mariana Trench, is one of the most alien and unexplored parts of our planet. Hidden under miles of ocean and covered in perpetual darkness, only a handful of people have reached the bottom of this deep point in the ocean, and it remains a mystery filled with strange life forms and terrifying occurrences. Scientists have been studying the strange depths of the Marianas Trench for decades, and what they found is nothing short of terrifying. In today's video, we'll be showing you what scientists just discovered in the Mariana Trench shocked the whole world. The Marianas Trench is the deepest and most unexplored place on the planet, measuring almost 7 miles under the Pacific Ocean. The deepest point in the trench, named Challenger Deep, is covered in complete darkness with unusual temperatures that are sometimes below freezing and sometimes boiling hot. The crescent-shaped trench is located about 200 kilometers east of the Mariana Islands in the western Pacific Ocean and has sparked interest since it was discovered in the mid-19th century. Almost 11,000 meters deep into the Earth's crust, the Mariana Trench is so deep that if Mount Everest was to be placed at the bottom, its peak would still be over 2,000 meters below sea level. To put that into perspective, you could stack 32 Eiffel Towers on top of each other and still have a few hundred meters to go before you reach the sea surface. The conditions in and around the Mariana Trench make it almost impossible for life as we know it to exist at such depths. The extreme pressure is about 8 tons per square inch and is over 1,000 times the standard atmospheric pressure on the surface. Humans and a vast majority of marine life couldn't possibly survive at the depth of the Mariana Trench, as the body would be crushed under such immense pressure. For perspective, the pressure at the bottom of Mariana Trench is equal to 100 adult elephants stacked on top of each other, standing on your thumb. The Marianas Trench was formed after the collision of 2 major tectonic plates, the Mariana Plate and the Pacific Plate. The Pacific Plate is being forced under the Mariana Plate, with the denser oceanic crust continuously sliding under the mantle with extreme force. This is a process that has been ongoing for billions of years, meaning the bottom of the Marianas Trench has not seen a single ray of sunlight for well over 1 billion years. The depths of the trench were first explored when the first manned mission was carried out in 1960, sending a submersive to the unknown bottom of the trench. The submersive was piloted by Lieutenant John Walsh of the U.S. Navy and renowned oceanographer Jacques Piccard, both men being the very first to study such depths beneath the ocean. The major reason behind the mission was to determine if there was life existing in such extremely harsh conditions and at such bone-crushing depths. After an incredibly long and slow descent, which took almost 5 hours, the submersible finally reached the bottom of the trench, confirming there was indeed some form of marine life surviving at the bottom. The second mission of the Mariana Trench was carried out by movie director and award-winning filmmaker James Cameron. Cameron embarked on a solo mission in 2012 in his notable Green submersible and reached the bottom in just 4 hours, noting the incredibly desolate nature at such depths. Scientists have always believed that there is indeed life existing at the bottom of the Marianas Trench, but a recent mission reveals that something else exists at the deepest point of the Earth's ocean. A recent underwater probe reveals the truth about what scientists found at the bottom of the Mariana Trench: plastic waste. It's no secret that the oceans have a significant amount of industrial waste being dumped over the course of the last century. Every year, millions of tons of plastic waste have been released into the waterways or directly into the ocean, some of which find their way into the food cycle of marine life. But one would think such waste would be restricted to more shallow waters near the surface of the ocean. But the recent probe mission carried out in the Mariana Trench reveals otherwise. A recently published research paper revealed that the oceanic pollution could very well find its way to the deepest part of the ocean, and the recent mission carried out by American explorer Victor Vescovo has provided much-needed evidence for this notion. Vescovo made his descent in April of 2019 to reach the bottom of the Marianas Trench and study the limited marine life that exists at the bottom, but what he found instead was plastic waste laying on the seafloor. Descending nearly 11,000 feet to Challenger Deep, Vescovo spent the better part of 4 hours exploring the depths of the Marianas Trench, and while he did find sea creatures at such depths, he was also shocked to find sweet wrappers and plastic bags as well. Vescovo revealed that he never expected to find plastic waste all the way down at such depths, at more than 34,000 feet below sea level. This indicated the level of contamination plastic waste was causing to even the most unexplored parts of the ocean. According to Vescovo, plastic waste could very well have reached the bottom of the trench even before man. Another published paper by a group of researchers estimates that some areas of the Marianas Trench could very well be more contaminated by plastic waste and some of the most polluted rivers in China. Sadly, just like other parts of the ocean, the bottom of the Marianas Trench still isn't a safe place for marine life to escape the contamination present everywhere else in the world's oceans. Other research teams have since found disposable utensils, plastic cans, and even trash bags inside the Mariana Trench. But while finding plastic waste at the bottom of the trench is devastating, the effects on the limited and isolated marine life dwelling within the trench are even more devastating. A publication released by the British Royal Society Journal indicates the microplastic, which are micro-units of broken down plastic, has indeed found its way into the physiological of amphipods living at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. The team carried out research with the aim of studying newly discovered marine life dwelling at the bottom of the trench and was successful in discovering 4 unidentified species of prawn-like crustaceans known as amphipods. They found other creatures such as spoonworms and pink snailfish living at more than 8,000 meters deep into the trench. The newly discovered crustacean species was named Erythenes plasticus, indicating the first species discovered at such depths to have strands of microfibers found lodged into its internal structure. Joanna Weston, a PhD student who was a member of the research team, revealed that there were indeed microfibers found within one of the specimens of crustaceans following a detailed analysis and examination of its internal structure. The team has indeed found a strand of polyethylene terephthalate, commonly called PET, which is common with commercial household items like latex clothes and water bottles. Following an interview on the team's discovery, Wetson said, "Finding a new species that we don't know was there before and finding plastic in it just shows how widespread this is as a pollutant. This new species gives a real name to people that they can connect with. The actions that I'm doing on land can impact this animal that's living 6,000 meters below sea level." However shocking it was to find microplastic lodged in the internal organ of a marine organism living nearly 8,000 meters under the sea, it's a fairly common occurrence in our system here on land and at the surface of the sea. Microplastic is commonly found in the air in most urban areas and heavily industrial parts of the world. Regions in Asia that have seen industrial processes like clothes making and plastic bottle processing also record a high level of plastic disposal in the ocean. These tons of plastic waste would dissolve and disintegrate over time, with much of it being carried into the atmosphere by evaporation and blown around the world, but it also appears that some find their own way down to the deepest parts of the ocean. Studies have also shown that natural processes like earthquakes and resulting tsunamis could be responsible for pushing these microplastics further down into the ocean and finally reaching the bottom of the Mariana Trench, where they affect marine life there. Another study from the University of Michigan has found that the carcasses of fish that lived near the surface could carry these contaminants, such as microplastic and even toxins such as mercury, further down at the bottom of the trench. In essence, marine animals that live near the surface are contaminated with these microplastics and toxins, and when they die, the carcasses sink to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, introducing these foreign substances to the isolated organisms that live at the bottom of the trench. Mysterious sounds. The mysterious nature of the Mariana Trench doesn't just resonate with the undiscovered marine life that could possibly dwell at the bottom of the trench, but there's also been other strange occurrences that have emanated from those depths. One of the strangest things that have frightened explorers and researchers that have embarked on missions in Mariana's Trench is a mysterious biometallic sound that sometimes originates from the bottom of the trench. Marine researchers first encountered these mysterious ocean sounds in 2014 while conducting sonar research on the Mariana Trench. The researchers were conducting their analysis using diving robots, otherwise known as passive acoustic ocean gliders, which recorded the strange sounds which appeared to originate from deep within the trench. The mysterious sound stopped as quickly as it started, lasting merely 3.5 seconds. But turned up repeatedly throughout the entire research period. The researchers were at a loss of what could make such sounds, but ultimately decided the possible culprits could be small minke whales. But it turned out a subsequent research team observed similar sounds emanating from a deep within the trench, and they concluded that whales couldn't possibly make such sounds at that particular frequency. Even further subsequent research in 2015 by a team from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, as well as other researchers from Oregon State University, including members of the United States Coast Guard, recorded equally strange sounds during their own research. The team submerged hydrophones into the lowest and deepest part of the Mariana Trench, the Challenger Deep. The team particularly built a dedicated hydrophone with custom-made titanium shells that was specifically designed to withstand immense pressures within the Challenger Deep. Unfortunately, the hydrophone was thought to be lost at the bottom of the Marianas Trench, but the team was able to retrieve it several months later, and the data found recorded on the device revealed some shocking sounds. Initially, the team expected to find a relatively quiet recording, as one would expect a depth at more than 10,000 meters to be particularly quiet. But the opposite was the case. The retrieved recording from the hydrophone revealed that Challenger Deep was full of diverse sounds, all at different frequencies and from different sources. Turns out that even at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, rubbles and sounds could be heard, including those emanating from whales, earthquakes, and even some surface sounds that managed to penetrate such depth. The team was shocked by the fact that surface sounds made their way to the bottom of the trench, as a recording captured sounds from boat propellers and even typhoons were surprisingly audibly recorded from the tapes, although there were some sounds that the team was unable to pinpoint its origin and the remaining mystery even until today. Strange volcanoes. But while unidentified sounds that would send shivers down your spine remain a mystery, there are still other bizarre occurrences that are going on within the Marianas Trench. While one would expect temperatures to become colder the deeper you go into the trench, the reality is extremely different, as researchers have found out. One of the most bizarre and weird occurrences within the Marianas Trench is the presence of massive underwater volcanoes that spew out hot mud and rock fragments from deep within the bottom of the Earth's crust. The Marianas Trench lies within the Hadal Zone of the ocean, which ranges from depths of 6,000 to 11,000 meters below the surface. Temperatures within this zone usually stay consistent at 4 degrees Celsius and slightly above freezing, but the Hadal Zone of the Mariana Trench is extremely different. Plagued with several strange underwater volcanoes, temperatures within the Hadal Zone of the Mariana Trench fluctuate from below 4 degrees Celsius to as high as 70 degrees Celsius, owing to the eruptions from these strange underwater volcanoes. These volcanoes exist in particular spots where the Pacific tectonic plates collide with the Philippine Sea Plate, creating a near-constant source of friction that results in hotspots for volcanic activity. However shocking and strange these underwater volcanoes are, scientists have revealed that they contribute to the presence of life at such depths within the Mariana Trench. As a result of the heat from these volcanoes, scientists have found multiple evidence of microbial life as deep as 8,000 to 10,000 meters below the sea surface. The mere presence of underwater volcanoes in relation to the microbial life would indicate some form of ecosystem present at such depths that we are unable to understand. According to oceanographer Oliver Plumper, this is another hint at a great deep biosphere on our planet. It could be huge or very small, but there is definitely something going on that we don't understand yet. Another mysterious aspect of these underwater volcanoes is that those located in Mariana Trench do not simply spew out hot magma or molten mud, but sometimes erupt with liquid carbon dioxide and even molten sulfur into the ocean. Somehow microorganisms are able to survive in such conditions in a weird ecosystem dynamic that scientists are still unable to comprehend. This weird temperature and chemical composition of the depth of the Mariana Trench can indicate the presence of some truly strange and mysterious life forms. Dumbo octopus. One of such strange and mysterious life forms that call the depth of the Mariana Trench home is the Dumbo octopus. The mere sight of this strange and weird octopus tells you very little of how strange this marine organism truly is. With deep-set eyes, incredibly floppy ears, and 8 tiny but powerful tentacles, the Dumbo octopus is named after Disney character Dumbo due to its similarly flappy nature. The Dumbo octopus calls the depth of the Mariana Trench home. Discovered at nearly 10,000 meters deep in the Mariana Trench, these seemingly adorable creatures only grow to be about 12 inches in length. The Dumbo octopus is a particularly small species of octopus compared to other species of its kind. The extreme pressure at the depth of the Mariana Trench might be too extreme for the most marine organisms, but this Dumbo octopus is able to survive owing to its gelatinous body, making it the deepest living octopus on the planet. Studies carried out on the Dumbo octopus have shown that it often rests on the sea floor with its web and arms spread out, moving in a crawling motion on the seafloor. The Dumbo octopus is one of those few octopuses that has not served to be incapable of jet propulsion, which could be due to the high-pressure nature of the depth at which it resides. It has also been revealed that the extreme pressure at the bottom of the Marianas Trench keeps the body of the Dumbo octopus together, and if it's brought to a higher depth, it would be unable to function properly. In other words, this Dumbo octopus has evolved to be completely dependent on the high-pressure nature of the Mariana Trench, and is practically unable to live anywhere else in the ocean. Black sea devil anglerfish. But the Dumbo octopus isn't the only weird and bizarre creature that is adapted to the high-pressure nature of the Marianas Trench. Amongst the weird and odd organisms that call the bottom of the Marianas Trench home are the black sea devil anglerfish. Unlike the Dumbo octopus, The sea devil anglerfish is simply terrifying to look at, and simply frightening. The sea devil anglerfish is known for its gaping mouth, extremely sharp teeth, and bulging eyes, but its most prominent feature is its luminous antenna-like muscles protruding from the top of its head. The sea devil anglerfish has evolved using chemical luminosity to attract its prey to within a few inches of its mouth, where capture is all but assured. But being able to survive under extreme pressure isn't the only weird aspect of the sea devil anglerfish, as its mode of reproduction is incredibly bizarre and is rarely found anywhere else in the aquatic kingdom. In order to reproduce, the male sea devil anglerfish fuses into the body of the female and proceeds to live off her resources until it's able to produce sperm, which can then fertilize the female's eggs. This mode of reproduction remains one of the most bizarre in the entire animal kingdom, and it isn't shocking that it's found deep within the Marianas Trench. Frilled shark. However bizarre and strange the sea devil anglerfish is, it's still a relatively small fish compared to another aquatic animal found within the depths of the Marianas Trench. The frilled shark is one of the most elusive and rarely seen sharks in the entire world. A truly terrifying marine animal, the frilled shark gets its name from its visibly frilled gills, which may sometimes be as much as 6 or 7, which is more than can be found on other sharks that usually have only such as 5 gills. Also referred to as the living fossil, the frilled shark is one of the oldest living sharks in the world, with its ancestry traced back to more than 80 million years ago. The shape of its mouth and its general appearance makes it look like something straight out of a prehistoric sci-fi film. This is incredibly fitting, as the frilled shark lives at such depths that could very well have survived the last extinction events that wiped out much of its relatives. In essence, dwelling in the deep dark depths of the Marianas Trench could very well have saved the frilled shark from going extinct, much like its distant cousins. With an incredibly slender, snake-like body, the frilled shark appears to be more like an eel than an actual shark. Looking past its prehistoric physique and terrifying structure, the frilled shark also has an incredible set of 300 sharp teeth. Surprisingly, despite the fact that the frilled shark lives at depths below 5,000 meters, it was among the very first deep-sea animals to be discovered way back in the 19th century. The frilled shark also has an incredibly long gestation period, having the second longest gestation period in the marine kingdom, up to 3.5 years. Woo! Meet the deepest fish in the sea, the Mariana snailfish. But while the frilled shark appears to be at the top of the Mariana food chain, there are depths to which even it cannot reach. There are only a handful of creatures that live at the deepest depth of the Mariana Trench, Challenger Deep, the most prominent of which is an Mariana snailfish. Withstanding an extreme level of pressure, the Mariana snailfish is also known as the Ghost of Abyss. It's a relatively small, pinkish-white, smooth-skinned fish that dwells at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, and it holds the record for the deepest fish ever brought up on the depth of the sea. After they were initially discovered, scientists conducted chemical analysis and DNA tests to ensure Mariana snailfish was indeed a newfound species, and the results confirmed that they were indeed an unidentified species. The Mariana snailfish is able to survive living off any tiny crustaceans and microshrimps that also dwell at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. This species has a significantly translucent skin with a small configuration, not more than 4 inches, giving it the appearance of an overgrown tadpole. Speaking on the discovery of the Mariana snailfish, a member of the research team said, "Snailfishes have adapted to go deeper than other fish and can live in the deep trenches. Here they are free of predators, and the funnel shape of the Mariana Trench means there's much more food. There's lots of invertebrate prey, and the snailfish are a top predator. They are active and look very well fed." Following the discovery of the Mariana snailfish, scientists concluded gene analysis to determine how they are able to survive such extreme pressure without being crushed instantly. Scientists revealed that the snailfish has 5 copies of a unique gene called FMO3. This particular gene is crucial in the formation of chemicals that stabilize proteins and effectively protect them from intense pressure. In contrast, other marine organisms only have a single copy of this particular gene and hence are not built to handle such pressures. The analysis also revealed that the Mariana snailfish is not only able to stabilize its protein synthesis but is able to terminate cartilage calcification to ensure that its body structure remains relatively gelatinous to prevent it from being crushed by the extreme pressure. Considering the Mariana snailfish is only twice as long as a cigar is incredibly impressive that it's able to withstand pressures that equal over 1,000 elephants standing on its head. The sheer size of the trench. But while finding unique marine life and plastic in Challenger Deep at the Mariana Trench is all well and good, the sheer size of the trench could mean a much larger scale biodiversity, as well as contamination in the Earth's deepest point. While most people focus on the magnificent depth of the Mariana Trench, some fail to comprehend the sheer size and length of the crescent-shaped crevice in the Earth's crust. It might be easy to think the Marianas Trench is simply a deep point in the ocean where creepy organisms live, but in reality, The Mariana Trench itself is incredibly massive. The entire length of the trench is more than 1,500 miles in length, which is well over 2,550 kilometers long and more than 43 miles wide. This makes it one of the largest trenches on the planet and makes a complete survey and exploration of the entire trench incredibly daunting. So far, scientists have only been able to map and explore the areas surrounding Challenger Deep, as it marks the deepest point of the trench, but much of the other parts of the trench remain unexplored and could very well reveal more strange and shocking discoveries. The Mariana Trench itself is technically part of the United States territory, and to protect one of the unexplored parts of our ecosystem, President George Bush declared the trench a Marine National Monument in 2009. This means the Mariana Trench itself is a protected marine reserve, indicating it is protected from fishing activities and could very well hold more diverse life forms and mysteries that have been discovered.